Hey everybody, Frank Godzilla Island here for the Mazer Squad with a comic book review of Tetlacatl issue 0 and Tetlacatl the fall special, both by Jorge Garza. He does all the story and art on these. These are mini comics. He does have an issue 1 out, which we will be covering in another video. But first I want to cover these two because these were the first comics that came for this series. Issue 0 here, let's focus on that one for now. This issue focuses on the origins of Tetlacatl and his first hunt. The story begins, there was an Aztec priest named Tetlacatl who was dismissed from his guild for sacrifice insubordination. So basically, he was an Aztec priest who no longer wished to commit blood sacrifices, human sacrifices for the sun god. But he ended up one day having a vision, a dream of giant monsters and kaiju, and he determined from those dreams that, you know, these monsters are filled with tons of blood and these giant hearts. And if a small human heart is enough to satisfy the sun god, what if these giant hearts or giant pools of blood from these kaiju would satisfy the gods better than sacrificing his own people? So he set out and designed Tetlacatl and launched them off into space to begin hunting down monsters in the name of the sun god in order to save his people. He was tired of seeing his people die, so Tetlacatl set out into space. And Tetlacatl's first journey is to this planet with some alien monster here. It's a big guy. He shows up. The two of them kind of fight it out. Now this comic, look at this shot here. Pretty cool shot. This issue 0 was part of a challenge that Jorge had, and it was to create a comic in several hours. I believe he had 8 hours to draw, write, and do everything. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. He threw all of this together in just a few hours. Basically, him and the monster fight it out. He wins and collects the heart. But what Tetlacatl doesn't know is that Tetlacatl's base and lab has been destroyed, and nobody knows that he's out there on this mission now, collecting monster hearts and blood, all in the name of the sun god for the Aztecs to save their people. And so he just continues on his hunt because he sends out a message saying, hey, first hunt's done, and he receives nothing back because there's nobody to answer back. And that's it for issue 0. At the end of issue 0, there was also a little Tetlacatl versus the coronavirus little comic here. It was part of another little challenge. It was part of the Heroes Against Coronavirus campaign. It's a little one-page story here. Basically, it's Tetlacatl flying through space, and he comes across these giant virus orbs, and he's like, oh, they're not monsters, but they're dangerous. He's like, I could take them out no problem, but I don't want to risk carrying the virus back on my body back to the home planet or any other planet, risking any other's lives. And here at the back is a little preview saying, oh, there's more stories to come. Really cool, bright, vibrant colors. Here they showed Tetlacatl in a like white stone form, whereas on the covers we tend to see him with the blue stone. Pretty cool little alternate look for him. I really enjoyed issue 0. Fun little read, especially considering it was thrown together in a few hours. It was all part of this bundle. So let me move on to issue, well, it's the fall issue. I'm going to move on to the fall special now, guys. Let's go. All right, so on to the fall special of Tetlacatl. This is the first special issue by Jorge Garza. Let's dig into this one. This one was interesting. You know, at the beginning of each book, he gives a little backstory on what's been going on around that time when he was working on these. And this one, since it was a fall special, you know what falls in fall. Everyone loves Halloween. So he went with a vampire-themed kaiju. He didn't do any research. He didn't know if there's ever been a vampire-like monster before. He's like, I'm just going to go do my own thing. So this issue follows Tetlacatl continuing his journey through space. He comes across a planet, and he detects two monsters on it. And it opens up with this native of the planet running away from this giant dinosaur-like monster, and you see he's apparently the village's fastest runner, and he kind of looks like the Flash in a way. He's got these long ear-like things on his head, almost, I don't know what that symbol is exactly. And in the background, the whole time while this monster's chasing him, you see another flying creature in the background. So the village's plan for this monster here is they're going to drive him into this valley and drop a boulder on his head. And when they do so, the monster gets really aggravated. All it kind of does is aggravates him. They all start throwing spears at him. And what's interesting in this series is all the kaiju talk. So this kaiju is like, you instantly Cretans, I'll destroy your village for this. And he starts to burn away at the villagers. This kaiju's name is Domtili, by the way. And he's burning the villagers, and then all of a sudden he gets bit from behind, and he's like, oh no, I'm gonna attack from behind and face me head on like a real adversary. So he's sucking out the blood of Domtili. The vampire's name is Drigor Edzoltsin, aka the vampire kaiju. And he goes, quiet, you are mine now. So all of a sudden, Tetlacatl breaks in and he's like, yo, listen, this is my hunt to claim in order of my son, in the name of my sun god. And the vampire kaiju's like, how dare you? And they begin fighting, and Domtili's kind of like off on the side. And Tetlacatl's given the vampire kaiju a good fight. And then all of a sudden we learn that, like Dracula in the movies, when he sinks his teeth into another being, he gains control of him. So turns out, because this kaiju bit Domtili, the vampire monster, he's now under his control, which is pretty cool concept, the kaiju might controlling another. And we get this another cool 2-page fight sequence here. They're fighting it out. Tetlacatl uses this blade type thing on his hand. He absorbs Domtili's fire blast and uses it to charge his blade, and he pretty much sends a blast through his chest, and the vampire kaiju takes off and flies away. So the vampire gets to live another day. But over here, kind of skips ahead later. The planet's queen thanks Tetlacatl for saving them and their village, kind of bringing peace to the planet for now. And then Tetlacatl takes back off into space on his journey to continue hunting down more kaiju in the name of the sun god for the Aztecs, still receiving no signal from home. At the back here we have a little almost translation of the Nahuatl words. It's the language that was spoke by the Aztecs, and it's pretty much a cool little breakdown. He says like arrow, avocado, sacrificial knife for the Tetlacatl. It's some of these are tongue twisters. I'm not completely familiar with the language, so it's a little tricky. And that sacrificial the Tetlacatl is like this that I showed earlier, this like knife blade that he uses to blast. Tetlacatl. And it's pretty cool. Just a little another little tidbit at the back. And then at the end of this comic is a teaser for the first full-length comic, Tetlacatl versus the Army of Monsters, which will be my next review. Take a look out on the channel for when that video drops. That is a longer book. That's a beefy 46-page book, and it came with the bundle with the fall special and the 0 issue on Jorge's website. So I will link the site down below and all of his socials, so you can follow him. You can pick these comic books up as well as his other comic books that he's making. He doesn't only make the Tetlacatl comics. He makes a lot of cool art and a few other comic series as well. So check that out, and thanks for watching, guys.